Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning. Welcome to Kahului Hongwanji's online YouTube Sunday service. Today is November 8th, 2020, and we are observing our regular family service. This being the month of November, and it is the month of Thanksgiving, which is coming up in a few weeks. And so during our services this month, we're going to think a lot about gratitude and appreciation. And that also fits into Taikyo, which is the major service, which is coming up this month on the 4th Sunday. So we'll be talking about gratitude really the entire month. So our service today begins with the Vandana and Tisarana, and then we'll continue with the sutra chanting, Gasho to Amida today, and then we will recite the Golden Chain of Love. After that, I will make a Dharma message, share a Dharma message with you about gratitude, about appreciation, and then we will chant the loving kindness meditation, the metta. Following that, we will sing the Nembutsu and then have some closing words. So thank you very much for joining once again during this difficult time of pandemic and all other kinds of craziness, but still we have to walk the path of wisdom and listen within ourselves and listen to that calling voice of great compassion as we live our lives in this world. So let's begin our service now. Let's put our hands together in Gasho and recite the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Bhutang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dhamma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Amida's name with deep joy and gratitude. I gasho to Amida, trees and grasses and flowers all grow in great compassion. This light shines throughout the world. I gasho to Amida. Flowers bloom and flowers fall. From the seed sprout new flowers. This is the truth unchanging. I gasho to Amida. Springtime brings the happy birds. Their songs all praise Amida. I join them in Nembutsu. I gasho to Amida. When I call Amida's name, it's Amida calling me. Buddha's voice, my voice are one. I gasho to Amida. When I'm lonely, I recite Namo Amida Butsu. Then I feel great compassion. I gasho to Amida. Nembutsu in work and play, every day with Amida. Every moment filled with light. I gasho to Amida. Remember the golden chain, kindness to all living things. I will follow this teaching. I gasho to Amida. In the clear bright morning sun, in the fading light of day, in the darkness of the night, I gasho to Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. I live in great compassion. This great power guides my life. I gasho to Amida. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. The virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Golden Chain of Love. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning. Please join me in Gasho as we recite the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Well, thank you once again for joining us for this online Sunday service, and I'd like to share a few thoughts about the Buddha's teaching with you today. So Thanksgiving is coming up this month, and that's I think it's a very nice observance, maybe one of the nicest things that people do in America, even now when we have such a, as they say, the media keeps reminding us, such a divided country. Nevertheless, I think in most homes, people will be having a Thanksgiving meal. You know, what it means to them and how they think about it, of course, varies, but for us as Buddhists, and especially for us as followers of the teachings of Shinran Shonin, I think this Thanksgiving can't help but be a very significant kind of thought, a significant way of observing a family holiday together, a meal that we join together. We invite our friends and family and welcome people and enjoy a time together and express, and most importantly, express gratitude for the, not only for the food that we are eating, but for the life that we are receiving from all directions, from all the different causes and conditions that have led us to this moment. And in Thanksgiving is a time to reflect, this turkey, these mashed potatoes or sweet potatoes or rice or whatever we're eating. Oh, this life has been given to us, has given itself to us, and it is part of the chain of causes and effect of, that just as we are. So just as we have parents, that turkey had parents, those potatoes had parents, and everything is part of the oneness of life that we are all part of, and we receive life from others. We cannot live without the life of others. That's the poison of greed and hatred and ignorance. As we say in Buddhism, the three poisons. When we think, I could do it on my own. I don't need anybody else. Or we say the other way, I earn this. This is all mine because I earned it because of my talent, my goodness, my intelligence, whatever. It's never true. It's never true. Some people are very talented, but their talent is a gift too that they've received from others. So we have to be grateful. We have to think of that. It's not possible to be grateful all the time. It's not possible to be grateful for everything, but we can, in every moment of life, we can be grateful for something. If we stop and reflect, we can realize, only because of others, only because of you, I'm able to have this experience, have this moment, learn this truth, receive this wisdom. Very important. So we need to think about that. Thanksgiving is very important. Very important. I think it's kind of the Buddhist holiday that was waiting to happen. Had to wait for the pilgrims and the American Indians that story, the origin of Thanksgiving, whether it's exactly true or not. It had to wait for that to have a holiday that is something that kind of potentially has this deep Buddhist significance. So it's really something to think about. So during this month, we'll be thinking about gratitude. So, as you know, because of this pandemic and all the other things going on, life isn't always the way we want it to be or the way we think it should be, right? It's unpredictable and unexpected. Those things happen all the time, outside of our control. We don't always get what we want in life. We don't get rewarded as we expect. We have bad experiences that we don't think we deserve. Not everybody has a happy life or a happy family life. Life is often upside down, right? And we don't even realize it. It's not the way we think it's supposed to be, the official story of how life is supposed to be. And because our lives are so often so uncontrollable, and most people can't choose the kind of world or country or society or culture or family that they would like to live in, and we usually have to deal with the cards that life has dealt us, right? We don't have a choice about most of the things in life. What can we do about it? Is there any meaning to our lives if everything just is sort of a random hand that's dealt to us? How can we grow out of really bad circumstances? So Buddhism actually has a lot of stories and origin stories, you might say. And there's a Buddhist story about a family that really had a lot of problems. They had big troubles even though they were wealthy and powerful. They had everything that you would think that they could want. But maybe those troubles arose because they were wealthy or powerful, certainly because of the way they thought about what they had and about what they didn't have. So this story is about the King Bimbasara and Queen Vaidahy, and it's in what's called the Contemplation Sutra. This is one of the three important sutras of the Pure Land tradition. And so normally, we have the Contemplation Sutra, the larger Pure Land Sutra, and also the smaller Pure Land Sutra, often called the Amida Sutra or the Amida Kyo. And the Contemplation Sutra is very interesting. I can't tell you all about it right now, but anyway, in this sutra, there's a story about King Bimbasara and Queen Vaidahy. Now, they were the rulers of the Magadha kingdom, and at the time when Shakyamuni Buddha was living, up in northern India. And as I said, they were wealthy and powerful, but unfortunately, they felt they had no children, and that's what they really wanted, so that made them very, very unhappy. Even though they had most everything they wanted, they weren't grateful for anything they had because it wasn't enough for them, right? So we're only grateful when we realize that what we have is enough. If you think I don't have enough, then you're not grateful. You're anxious and desirous and grasping. So they really wanted to have a son who could become king. Royalty always want to have a son to be the next king. So now, they had a lot of people working for them, and one of them, or at least in their kingdom, and one of them was what you might call a prophet, someone who could predict the future. He could see into the future. And they asked him whether they would be able to have a son. And this prophet, this holy man, prophet, seer, I guess, he said, yes, you will have a son. Now, listen, there is a holy man, a kind of an ascetic, who lives in the forest, who is going to die in the very near future. When he dies, Queen Vaidahy will become pregnant, and the boy she will give birth to will be this holy man, right, reborn as your son. So this should have been very good news to King Bimbasara and Queen Vaidahy, just what they wanted. If they had waited patiently, they would soon have a son, and a very special son. They would have everything they wanted, but they didn't wait patiently. They were so impatient that they went to see this holy man, and they tried to talk him into giving up his life immediately, crazy story. They wanted him to give up his life immediately so that he could be reborn as their son. And he said, the holy man said, no, look, I'm not ready to leave this world yet. I have more practice to do, more perfecting of myself to do. But King Bimbisara and Queen Vaidahy were so important, were so impatient to have what they wanted that they ordered the soldiers to kill this poor man right then and there, just so that he would be reborn quickly as their son. And in fact, Queen Vaidahy soon became pregnant and gave birth to a son who was called Ajatasattu. Ajatasattu, hard to say. Now, do you think that they were happy now and grateful that they had their son? Unfortunately, not. The story tells us that the prophet now told them that their son would be very, very angry at them and eventually cause them a great deal of harm. Remember that that the holy man was supposed to be reborn as their son, and they killed him. So presumably, this was the holy man. He wasn't yet quite enlightened, and he was reborn as their son, and now he's angry. So when they heard this news, suddenly, King Bimbisara and Queen Vaidahy, who had gone through all that shenanigans to get what they wanted, a son, now they said, oh, we better try to kill this kid, this little baby. So I think they threw him off of a roof, but it didn't kill him. In fact, he only injured his finger. He had a little crooked finger. And when he grew up, as he grew up, he was an angry child. Those kind, and there are angry children, right? And it's a good way to make your child angry if you try to kill them. So so eventually he got his revenge. He took revenge on them, and he put his father and eventually his mother in prison, and took control of the kingdom. So he took over as king, just what his father wanted, but not quite in that way. So this was not one of those warm-hearted family stories, warm family stories, I'm afraid. Now, the story of King Bimbisara and Queen Vaidahy is a good example of how we can behave when we don't have gratitude. No matter how much we have, no matter how well things are going, if we don't appreciate our situation, we are going to make really bad decisions and choices. They knew that they were eventually going to have the son that they really wanted, but they just couldn't wait. Impatience is a form of greed, you see. It's just greed, yeah? Because of their impatience and greed, the happy story of having a son who was a reincarnation of this holy man turned into a terrible tragedy. When Queen Vaidahy was in prison, she was, not surprisingly, very unhappy. She felt so bad about her condition and felt terrible misery and grief. So she'd heard about Shakyamuni Buddha, about the Buddha, and she turned toward Vulture Peak, which is the place where the Buddha was supposed to be dwelling. And in her mind, she begged the Buddha to send someone to comfort her. Even though the Buddha was miles away, he heard her words and he immediately appeared before her. Even though Queen Vaidahy had done really bad things, the Buddha did not hesitate to come to her. Even though he was far away, the distance was no hindrance. But he didn't come to free her from prison that she was in, from the prison that she was in. He came to teach her about the Dharma. When we learn the Dharma, we actually become free from the prison that we build around ourselves with our selfishness and our lack of gratitude. We become free from suffering. When Vaidahy learned about Amida Buddha and the Pure Land, where anyone can go and become Buddha, no matter who they are or what they have done, she immediately decided she wanted to go to that land. So Shakyamuni Buddha taught her many ways and many practices by which she could be born in that land. Now, probably Vaidahy could not really perform all those difficult Buddhist practices that Shakyamuni taught her. She was more like us ordinary people. She was a very selfish person. So when Shakyamuni Buddha came to see her, she didn't say to him that she had done bad things. She didn't admit to any fault. She said, "What bad things have I done that I should suffer like this?" So she didn't, "I'm not responsible, just bad things have happened to me, please help me." She was actually surprised that she had these problems, even though she and her husband had killed the holy man and tried to kill their own son. She didn't think about the consequences of her action. She just wanted to escape from her problem. Most of us can relate to that. We often don't really care about whether we do good or bad. We just don't want to get into trouble. So Vaidahy chose Amida's Pure Land because it seemed like a good place, because there was no trouble. Of course, Shakyamuni Buddha realized this. He knew that she could never go to the Pure Land on her own, through her own practices. But he taught the practices to her so that she could learn about herself, learn about her selfishness. When we are selfish and have no appreciation for others, we can't have a pure and sincere mind. Our mind is always thinking about all the stuff we want to get and all the things we want to do. We're always thinking about our own selfish desires and needs. But in this story, Buddha tells Vaidahy that she is just an ordinary person. And he told her that for ordinary people, no matter how bad they are, they can still reach the Pure Land. They can reach the land of peace. It's interesting because, typically anyone who's a queen or a king is considered not to be an ordinary person, but a superior person. But Shakyamuni Buddha tells you, no, you're just an ordinary person. It doesn't matter that you're queen. You're just an ordinary person. And you have to realize this about yourself. You have to realize your limitations, your foolish passions. So it's not easy to find peace when we're full of all those attachments, that selfishness, and when consequently we are not thankful, we're not grateful. But if we open ourselves to the way of Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, our selfishness will naturally be changed into gratitude, gratefulness, and kindness. We can't explain it, but it's true. Namo Amida Butsu means bowing to the compassion and wisdom that is completely unselfish, that cares about and teaches and illumines everyone, whoever they are, whatever they have done. To live Namo Amida Butsu means to think and care about everyone, everywhere, and most especially to become grateful to everyone, to realize that without others we cannot live at all. I will probably never become as grateful and appreciative as I should be, and I won't always treat others as I should. But when I realize my selfishness, Namo Amida Butsu naturally rises up into my heart. And so despite my selfishness, every day can become a true thanksgiving. Then I can really appreciate everyone, my family, my friends, everyone, and everyone else in the world, all living beings. So thank you very much for listening. Now please join me in Gassho as we recite the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May I be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to me. May I live in peace and harmony. May my family be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my teachers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my friends be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May strangers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my enemies be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Well, thank you very much for joining us today for our online Sunday service. As we go through this difficult time, all times in life are difficult, so this is just one different variety. And life is impermanence, so we know that things always change and things are not in our control, at least not entirely in our control. But let's just keep our minds focused on what's really important. Gratitude is a big part of that, appreciation. That allows us to see the reality of things much better than anger and resentment and all those other kinds of more poisonous states of mind. So let's focus. I think the most important thing, why do we come to temple? It's to awaken ourselves, to help to have the opportunity to hear the Dharma and become awakened, to deepen our understanding of life and our appreciation of life, and to be able to live a meaningful and purposeful life. So let's keep our minds focused on what's really important during this time. And so thank you so much for joining us, and watch after these words for the scrolling announcements, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Let's recite the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.